Why Kirk was promoted to captain so quickly in Star Trek's 2009 movie. J.J. Abrams' 2009 Star Trek movie cleverly rebooted the franchise by setting the new saga in a reality parallel to the Prime universe, but the writer/director also made the divisive decision to fire Chris Pine's version of James T. Kirk rapidly through the ranks at Starfleet. Although the Kelvin timeline is largely separate from the Prime universe, the crossover of Leonard Nimoy's Prime Spock notwithstanding, it still abides by many of the same rules and regulations that exist in the franchise's main dimension. As such, the 2009 movie calls one of Abrams' biggest creative choices into question. Pine is just one of 5 actors to play Captain Kirk in the Star Trek franchise, with William Shatner's version being the most prolific. Having already appeared in 3 Star Trek movies between 2009 and 2016, the long-delayed Star Trek IV is still supposedly happening, although the progress on Pine's return as Kirk has long been halted. Although Chris Pine's movies hold a unique place in the larger Star Trek timeline, his iteration of Kirk being handed captaincy of the USS Enterprise is still unusual. Every main version of James Kirk in Star Trek is a natural-born leader with a talent for improvisation, and Pine's version of the character is no different. His actions in the 2009 movie are incredibly heroic, and the fallout of his intervention is significant. Therefore, although it would be understandable for Pine's character to receive some form of reward or commendation, promoting him from an entry-level cadet straight to the rank of captain feels very out of character for an organization such as Starfleet. Pine's Kirk was inarguably a major factor in the hero's success in Abrams' first Star Trek movie, but allowing him to pass over all the hard-working ensigns, lieutenants, and commanders who had spent their careers building a reputation for themselves is a bizarre way for Starfleet to express their gratitude to him. It perhaps would have been more believable if Kirk were handed his first commission as ensign instead, or even perhaps allowed to jump to lieutenant junior grade, but being given command of a ship so soon just feels very misguided. Although Kirk's reward at the end of the 2009 Star Trek movie doesn't make sense canonically, there is a great deal of logic involved from a scriptwriting perspective. Although it took a very creative route, the movie was intended to reboot the Star Trek franchise, so Pine's Kirk had to be given an origin story. Taking any longer than a single movie to do this would have risked alienating new fans, so he pretty much had to be captain of the Enterprise by the installment's finale, as this is how he's known pretty much universally in popular culture. In a TV show, this wouldn't have been as much of an issue, as spreading the arc throughout a full season would have felt a little less jarring. In movie form, it's pretty difficult to avoid unless Kirk's promotions don't happen until a later sequel. Plus, there's also the consideration that by giving Pine's Kirk such a different backstory to Shatner's version, Abrams was able to keep the 2 iterations much further apart in terms of similarity, which was very respectful to the man who originated the character in 1966. Chris Pine's Captain Kirk is still a great version of the character Pine. Being installed as the Enterprise's captain after just 1 mission as a cadet is a tricky plot point to ignore, but it shouldn't take away from the actor's portrayal of the legendary Star Trek character. Pine puts his own spin on Kirk, but also folds elements of Shatner's performance into his own. Pine's overall demeanor and the pattern of his speech have clearly been influenced by the original Captain Kirk, but there are more than enough deviations to separate the 2 versions. In the 2009 reboot of Star Trek, one of the most striking plot points was the rapid promotion of James T. Kirk from cadet to captain. For longtime fans of the franchise, this narrative decision raised eyebrows. Kirk, traditionally seen as a skilled and seasoned officer, underwent an unusually swift rise to the rank of captain within the new timeline. While this decision might seem hasty or unrealistic in the world of Starfleet, several creative, character-driven, and narrative-based reasons justify why Kirk was promoted so quickly in J.J. Abrams' vision of Star Trek. 1. Establishing Kirk as a natural leader from the outset of the film, James Kirk is depicted as a brash, reckless, yet deeply intelligent young man with an innate talent for leadership. His early life was marked by loss and rebellion, but his daring nature and quick-thinking mind set him apart from his peers. The film positions Kirk as someone destined for greatness, echoing the qualities of a classic hero's journey. His boldness, refusal to give up, and ability to inspire those around him became central to the film's portrayal of his rise. The climactic scenes demonstrate Kirk's potential when, as a mere cadet, he outsmarts the more experienced officers on board, taking command of the USS Enterprise when the ship is in dire peril. Starfleet, in a crisis situation with limited options, saw the necessity of promoting someone with the ability to make tough decisions under pressure, and Kirk was clearly that person. 2. Crisis accelerates command decisions. One of the key aspects of Kirk's rapid promotion is the catastrophic nature of the situation he faces. The arrival of the Romulan Nero from the future sets off a chain of cataclysmic events, including the destruction of the planet Vulcan. This crisis causes Starfleet to operate under unprecedented circumstances. In such an extreme situation, protocols and standard procedures are often overlooked for the sake of survival. Promotions, particularly battlefield commissions, are accelerated when necessary, and individuals with the capability to lead are given the opportunity to step up, regardless of their formal rank. Kirk not only saves the Enterprise and its crew, but also prevents Nero from further devastating the Federation. His actions, though unconventional, demonstrate a capability that far exceeds his rank as a cadet. Starfleet's decision to reward him with the captaincy reflects both the necessity of the moment and the recognition that Kirk, while young, has qualities that make him uniquely suited for command. 3. The importance of Spock and Kirk's dynamic at the heart of the Star Trek franchise is the iconic relationship between Kirk and Spock. In the 2009 reboot, this relationship is tested and forged in the fires of conflict. Spock, as a highly logical and by-the-book officer, contrasts sharply with Kirk's more instinctual and risk-taking approach. Early in the film, Spock is seen as the more qualified and established officer, having already ascended to the rank of commander. However, Spock's internal struggles, stemming from the destruction of his home planet and his mixed human-Vulcan heritage, play a critical role in his initial inability to fully embrace command during the crisis. Kirk, on the other hand, thrives in chaotic situations, seeing the bigger picture and making bold decisions that ultimately save lives. Starfleet's decision to promote Kirk to captain and retain Spock as his first officer reflects the narrative focus on their complementary strengths. The promotion reinforces the idea that, despite their differences, they are stronger together, with Kirk's emotional intuition balancing Spock's rationality. 4. A nod to the alternate timeline. Abrams' Star Trek film exists within an alternate timeline, often referred to as the Kelvin timeline, named after the USS Kelvin, which was destroyed in the movie's opening sequence. The film deliberately sets out to tell a new version of Kirk's origin story, one that is both faithful to the spirit of the original while carving its own path. In this timeline, the premature death of Kirk's father, George Kirk, during the attack by Nero, profoundly impacts James T. Kirk's life and character development. Without the steadying presence of his father, Kirk's journey is more tumultuous, marked by defiance and a sense of searching for his place. This divergence from the original series continuity allows the filmmakers to explore new avenues, including Kirk's accelerated path to the captain's chair. By the time Kirk assumes command of the Enterprise, the film has already established this as a timeline where events move faster and differently than in the original series. His promotion is a reflection of the film's willingness to play with established lore and present a version of Starfleet that, under extraordinary circumstances, makes extraordinary decisions.